Good evening, guys. How are we? I hope that music got a bit more of this. It's ancient music, you know. There must be some nutrition in it, you know, if it's lasted this long. They've got guys in orchestras and classical pianists and great virtuosos, you know. You think, well, why don't they just write their own stuff, you know? But I don't know. It seems to have some kind of spiritual, ethical endorsement or something like that comes with it. Anyway, I'm going to try not and move this phone too much and this microphone, and as you can see, like, it's shaking already. I tend to shake a little bit due to several factors, you know. But I just want to talk a little bit about those wee shorts that I put up last night there. Which I quite enjoyed doing, but I just took the videos and then labelled them after, titled them after, to kind of try to make it look like I knew what I was doing, you know what I mean? The first one was on about setting up a solid jab, so I don't know what way could you interpret that. I think it's sort of just finding your footwork, finding your space, finding your range with the jab, trying out a variety of jabs, you know, a flick, more of a piston type thing, trying to jab on the move. And I think really that's the one that I was working towards, was a good solid step in jab in the move, but you're stepping out to your left side, you know, if you're orthodox. You step out to your left hand side, so you're more or less, it's like a counter shot too. You're waiting for your opponent to come in, and you're making all sorts of moves. You see what he reacts to. When he commits and comes in, you know, you're going forward and you're stepping out of the way too. And it's a straight shot. It's like a straight left type of effect, you know. It's nearly like a check hook, except it's a straight shot. Therefore, it's quicker. If you're going a straight line, it's got to be quicker, more direct, isn't it? And there's something about those solid shots. You know, you might catch a guy on the temple or something like that. There, they can be quite debilitating, especially when he doesn't anticipate it coming right to that angle. Anyway, the next one was the uppercut. Throwing the uppercut with spite, which is something I've been ranting on about for a while. Is these Prince Nazim uppercuts? You know, I don't think they belong to him solely, but he would be one of the bigger kind of proponents of it, wouldn't he? He's like a snake. He's very animalistic. He's like a snake that gets uncoiled, you know. It's very entertaining. And I thought to myself, well, is there any actual merit, you know, technically and in terms of extra power? Or I think there is. But you do leave yourself very much wide open, especially with the lead hand. If you go to do it with the lead hand, with the rear hand, you seem to have a bit more protection or something like that. Yeah, it's a bit more compact for some reason. With the lead hand, it's like you have to take a chance, you know. If you land it, it'll be amazing, you know what I mean? But you know, it's not going to land every time, and if it doesn't land, you could end up looking like a bit of an idiot, you know what I mean? But it's interesting to try different uppercuts and putting different steam on them and stuff like that, and you know, taking your weight to one side and the other, things like that. Next thing was southpaw is cool, mind your defense. I spent a wee bit of time trying to learn to do stuff southpaw, and I had like a bit of a spar with a friend of mine in his living room. He's a bit bigger than me, like, you know, and but like, I mean, I lost the fight regardless. I'm not making excuses, but you know what I mean. Whenever I turned southpaw, I was like, great, I'm styling, I'm showing all this great stuff that I know about boxing and all this here, you know. And he just caught me with I think it was a straight right hand, and it just went right down the pipe. I had no anticipation of it at all, and I realised that that's what it is. If you're used to fighting all your days from one place, your lead hand's educated. It knows where to go, you know what I mean, and you have an idea of what to anticipate. Suddenly you find yourself in this other position, and you're preoccupied with trying to look the man can, you know, and yet again, it's ego's our biggest downfall, you know what I mean? So I would say Southpaw can be practically very, very good, as long as you don't use it for just a style enhancement, and you know, that can be cool, like, as long as you're effective and you get in and out without making a fool out of yourself, you know what I mean? I find leading with your whatever your sort of backhand, your power hand would usually be. If you can learn to throw your jabs and straight shots with that, you get a lot of power, and you do get probably a variety of angles that you normally wouldn't get. Apologies for the length of time. We'll fly through these next two, right? The next one was finding your own natural rhythm, right? Fight to your own tempo. So my kind of observation there, right? This is not a beer swilling, you know, boxing enthusiast, right? There's so many white fighters, you know what I mean, that try to fight like the great urban fighters, which works for me up to an extent. But if you look at somebody like what do you call the guy, super middleweight, fought Benavidez, a good fighter, like good fighter, very skillful, sweet hands. Can't remember his name. Fantastic guy, great backstory. You know, he actually gave Canelo a lot of trouble using that the Philly shell sort of approach. I think some people again get preoccupied with stuff like that, and it's like, hang on, get you into your natural centered rhythm and what works for you. Do you know what I mean? That works for those guys because they're all built and geared like that. It's just genetics. That's all it is. We're not quite as slick as they are, so slow things down and use your brain. You know what I mean? And use your smarts. And you know, be sly, be tricky, be stuff like that. But work within your own rhythm, and everything works easier for you. Every shot comes off with much more power and effectiveness, basically. You know, or if you're trying to skip around, some people can do it. Some, you know, sweet hands over there, sweet paws, he's got it. There's a few others that, you know, there's slick boxers and this and that. I don't know, that could be a personal gripe. I'm getting to be a middle-aged man, like, although I look like a child. So I'm quite grumpy, right? Anyway, the last bit was something I've also difficulty with, which is hooking technique. I had a certain particular technique down that I was going with, and I thought, yeah, this is the right thing. And then I got a bit of perspective on it, and I realised, no, that's not it. I'm not doing it right. And then so I was trying to take tips from this guy and that guy, and I was getting somewhere with it. But you know how it is, like, there's the jab for me is quite a good shot, you know what I mean? And I can throw a decent hook, don't get me wrong, but the whole machinations of it, and do you know what I mean? The mechanics, the body mechanics doesn't exactly, it's not that clear to me, you know what I mean? I really need some, I need to go and do like a 16-week camp, you know what I mean? Just to learn how to throw a left hook, but just to do it properly too. And then of course you can adjust afterwards and do your wee bits and bobs, you know. Do your wee bit of Floyd Mayweather, yeah, if you fancy it, like. Anyway, guys, like I said, just your average middle-aged man-child here, boxing enthusiast, you know, to the death, like, to the very end. Hope you're all enjoying your, what's that, Monday afternoon, evening, yeah, evening, night. Do you know what I mean? In terms of, like, people putting up shorts and videos who, I think George Groves has become the man, hasn't he? Like, he's the top guy, man. His boxing instruction's very, very good. I haven't put a lot of it to use, like, he's such a big guy too, but he just talks sense to me. You know what I mean? He talks good sense and he demonstrates it, and you know what I mean? Like, if you were around, like, for Groves' ascension, you know, you probably respect him as a boxer too. So anyway, I'm gonna fly on, probably drink some beer or something like that, something real athletic and disciplined. Good evening, good night.